Hey folks, Jason here with Dirt Race Life. So in this next video on our street stock build, we're going to be putting some tubing in. First one we're going to start with is the main hoop that goes behind our head, the one that's coming from the frame all the way up across the top and back down. This pattern right here I want to show you, this is not mine. I don't want to take credit for it. This is Jamie Lewis's pattern. He shared this with me, said this is a real good way to do a main hoop for a metric frame, which is what we're building here. And so I just wanted to show this to you before I bend it up. This can be done with a 10-foot piece of tubing. I'm going to use a 12-foot. I'll show you why here in a second. But across the top, the straight piece is 27.5 inches across the top. Then it's got a 75-degree bend in each corner. It's got a straight leg here of 12.5 inches and then a 15-degree bend. And then it comes on down. And so that's how you get your 90. You get 75 there and 15 here. It is the same on both sides. So you see 12.5 inches on both sides here. And then the down leg, you just run that long where that you can trim it to whatever you want for your height, for your halo height. On the crush, I went way too far on that. My Camaro, I was really short on head height. And so I had went to like 46 inches inside here on halo height. It was way too much, way too much. So on this car right here, I'm going to go 42 inches from where my seat's going to bolt in to where the top of, or the bottom of the tubing. That's going to be 42 inches. Now the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to leave these legs long and then we're going to trim them. And I'm going to put an extra 12 inches here. So I'm going to use a 12-foot piece going from the center out both ways. I'm going to go an extra 12 inches. And the main reason I'm going to go an extra 12 inches is because I'm going to turn this tube in right here. Instead of welding it straight down into the top, I'm going to turn this tube in and weld it into the side of the frame on this side. And then I will go into the top of the frame on that side. Just going to leave it plenty long on both sides where that we can trim it to fit after I get it all bent up and stuff. And when we trim it to fit, of course, we can trim in order to get it perfectly level, set the angle like we want the whole 9 yards. So that's the plan. Let's get to it. Like I said, I'm gonna leave it long and might waste a little bit, but I won't accidentally come up short. That's my thinking on that. I won't accidentally come up short. Come here, baby. Sit right there. On my first build, when I did the crush, I did a lot of bending with this JD squared bender. It's this great little old bender. And I'll put some links to some of the videos in the description here where I was going through showing this bender and stuff. I don't want to go back through and like just demonstrate how to use the bender because we've got videos that do just that. Like how I make the, the cheater tubes where that, you know exactly your measurements and like where the bend will start and the whole 9 yards. Like I've got all of that. Put a link in the description, so if you need that information, go check that out. I gotta get this bent. We'll focus on building the car on this episode instead of just bending tubing. But y'all, I will say this Docol R8 thickness 1.5 definitely got more spring in it than DOM. Golly, this stuff right here. That's pretty tough stuff. Jeez. I'm impressed. Good Lord. Gonna make me get hydraulics for my JD squared. Whew. I won't be shot today, y'all. Woohoo! All right. sprung a little bit close. I got about 45 instead of 46, but I'll just spring it open. Yeah. That is right here. Yeah. I'm fine. About 45 and a half. It'll be fine, I ain't spraying that. What we'll do, we'll get one side welded up, then we'll just pull it over to the other side. It'll be fine. When we get done, take a torch and just warm the corners up just a little bit, and it'll just relax and be happy. I want 42 inches from where my seat's gonna be to the inside of the halo up here. So I'm gonna go to the top of the halo, right like that. Yep, I'm right there. Okay, so now I'm on the top of the halo. And so then I'm gonna be 1.5 inches down because I'm gonna be on this side of 42 inches. So I wanna go to 43 and a half to make 42. All right, so there's 43 and a half. Mark that. Now, I got my template 90 degree right here. I'm gonna put a 90 degree into the frame right there. It's actually going to be behind where my bolt goes. Be sitting rearward a lot. Anyway, it's going to be sitting right in here. And I'm going to be 4 inches out right here. That's where that works out. Flush with that rail. I think it's 4. Yep, it's 4 inches. So, when I get this right here in 4 inches, so what I've got to do, I'm going to lay it right there because I want the top of that tube to be right here. That's going to be where the top of the seat's going to be. Get that 4 inches going there. All right, there's my 4 inches. Okay, there's that. Now, that's where it goes through my bender right there, that little mark. And the top of the tube is right here. So I know this isn't making sense to y'all, but I'm gonna look and see where I am. I'm on that 1 inch, I'm on that inch mark right there. So I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 5 to the low point on the bender. Right there. That's where I'm going to put it in the bender. When I pull the bender, that spot right there. And the way, it's a little hard to get this in your head at first. It can be a little complicated, but basically what's going on here is like this big ring I've got cut around this, around my template, my pattern. That's where the bender is going to pull tight. And so I can take, and I've got a 1 inch mark. I marked this template before I ever did this before I ever made this template. I marked all these 1 inch marks. And so I know if my spot is right there, see that rolls around to that spot. So like that's telling me, because the bend will mess you up. You can't just like wrap a tape measure around it or anything. You have to like do it in advance. But I said I wasn't going to go through and show everything about bending. I'm sorry, y'all. But anyway, bend this up. So, I'm going to cut you right there. And do it like this. There we go. Good, straight. Yep, just like that. Well, now we've got the rear main hoop made, we need to put it on the frame. Now, I had debated on where to put this, and I had put them right down through here. On that car there, that's kind of where it was. And a lot of people will put it right in here on top of the pad, on this, right in this corner of this notch. I'm actually going to put it right to the rear of the bolt. So I'm absolutely maximizing rear percentage, where the cage is sitting and everything. And I'm going to get it right in here. I've got me a little template here. I cut me an angle on it where that I can figure out the cut, because I'm going to cut a hole and I'm going to go down through my frame. That way I can weld it on the top and I can turn around and I can weld it. I've got access here to weld it into the floor as well. So I'm going to tie it in there really well. It's also going to make it a little bit easier for me to put this on because I can drop it in the hole. But I have to make sure that it's going to clear the bolt. So the bolt's going to go right beside it here, but there's plenty of room. The bolt's going to have about a ½ inch of clearance, you know, on each side. So it's not going to be a problem for me to get a socket in there. I'll probably put a long bolt with a shoulder on it anyway. But we're going to put this bad boy right here. We're going to lean it back about 10 degrees. So I'm just going to I'm just approximating. I'm just cutting a hole, so this ain't got to be perfect. But I'm just trying to, you know, I want the hole to be as close to the size as possible where I drop it in and just MIG it up. I don't have to go put the filter in or anything, because I want this to be stout, 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 stout. And I want that tube to be right on that wall. And that is it right there. So I'm going to mark this. Now the other side goes on the outside of the frame, which is going to make this pretty easy for me to mount this because of that. By going through the frame on this side, when I drop it in, it's going to hold the hoop in place. And then everything's just going to get easy after that, because we can take it out and trim and put it back and it'll just sit there. So first things first, let's get the hole cut. And all I have to do now is drop it in the hole. Hey, just like that. Okay. My first guess is I'm gonna take 6 inches off the end of that tube. Sit right there. Okay. Get up there. Push it out. Look at that. Woo, that's getting purty now. That is getting purty. All right, get you down on that mark. You may have to go forward or back. I'm not going to worry about measuring that right now. Just see how close we are over there on our... Oh yeah, we got to cut a lot more off. Let's see how far off we are. Oh. So it's about 5 degrees this way. So you see what I'm talking about? I'm just going to trim, 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 trim until I'm on my mark over here and I get to 0 there, and boom, it's there, done. Well, it took me a minute to get it worked out, but I've got it sorted out. I've got everything. Let me make sure nothing shifted. I ended up, let's see, yep, we're good. I ended up at like 89.5 and 89.5. It's like that's how everything worked out. It's fine though, because it's the same. I'm good with it. 0 across the top. And I'm leaning it back 10 degrees. And I'm going to put, I'm leaning back 10 degrees here, and I'm going to have another tube that's going to go 10 degrees in the opposite direction. It's going to create a trapezoid right here, but which will be stronger. But anyway, but yeah, so we're good to go. Put some welds on. All right, y'all. I'm going to do it a little bit different this time for the tubing going across. This is going to get cut back. This string right here, I've got, you see I've got a block, I've got an 1.5 inch block right here, and then I've got that on the top of the U-joint sticking on the yoke out of the back of the transmission. This line represents the maximum height that I should ever see on the drive shaft. And that includes, like, you know, the car jumps through a rut or gets hit hard or something happens that makes it really slam down on the springs. I'm still not going to be past that. I mean, that's probably 2 to 3 inches, to be honest, higher than I could actually see. But I put in some safety margin. And I am putting this tube in, which this tube represents the bottom. The bottom of it will be like the floor. But then it's going to have a piece that's going to go there. So you'll see that in just a second. We got to get this one on. And I may have to stick it and then kind of work with it a little bit to try to get level. Eyeball it and fight with it a little bit and see if I can't get it all lined up. I done ground out and cut and shaped. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. All right, now I got another piece somewhere. Where is it? Here it is. Part 2. Part 2 is going to go right down into that base. And so I'll shape this mouth on this end. And then I'll turn around and cut that off, put a cap end of it, put it all together, yada, 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 yada. I got it all prepped out, ready to go. Of course, I got my 90 here, I got it capped off, I cut it off right where it be at the bottom of the tube here. This is sitting level. Like I said, my floor is going to be the bottom of this tube right here. Fish mouth this one to fit right into that corner, and then a fish mouth here. A little bit different, but I don't know, it just seemed like this is maybe a little bit better than what I was doing. A little easier too. I did like a full U and was down low, and I was like, man, that's just overkill. And anyway, and I don't want to make this frame as rigid, but I want to have something good right here to tie my cage together, keep a horn from getting pushed in on the back. But I don't want like big square tubing like I did on my first one, just making it absolutely rock solid. I think I went too far. Y'all can see where my string is. Like I said, that's my top of my drive shaft. Y'all, as far as clearance on this side right here, I am about 3 inches from the center line. So I'm going to have, you know, a good 1.5 to 2 inches right here of clearance. So even if that drive shaft gets all the way up to right here, I'm still clear to the side of it. I'm going to try to get just a couple more tubes in here before we quit. The X. I have went back and forth and thought about this. How do I want to do this? Do I want to do a driver's compartment and then do like just a triangle off that side? Or I know I don't want to make the frame too stiff, but I do not want this thing to be able to twist. In other words, like one side gets hit and that frame rail slides back in comparison to the other one. You know, like what do you call it? It racks it. If a car does that, it's ruined. Like, you'll never fix that. And, you know, that's where the X bracing comes in. And I've come to the conclusion that I am just going to put a full X in it over the entire span of the whole thing. And I've taken the measurements and everything, and it actually works out. I can put the X in and be under the drive shaft. So I pull the string now down to the maximum bottom angle. So I came off the bottom of my yoke right here, and then I've got that thing running at like a 20-degree angle down through there, and it's like 2 foot below the bottom of the car on the back and everything. And I know like that's maximum drop, and of course I'm going to have chains on the back of the car, and so it's not going to drop out. And so like doing that, taking my measurements, I can actually run an X on the bottom of the frame, corner to corner, and clear this drive shaft. So, let's do that. Now on this X, I'm going to use 1.25 for it, not 1.5. I think 1.5 would be overkill. Also, I'm not going to be putting my main cage, I'm not going to be tying into this. I'm going to be tying it into the frame rails, and so This can structurally just be 1.25 inches. It's just stopping the twist of the frame and stuff. It's a safety measure is what it is. So I am going to trim it and just cut it to fit. So I'm just going to eyeball that angle right there to bump into it right in front of my trailer arm right here. So I got my right there. All right. So there's that. And I better mark up well, I can see that angle right there. So this is the top. Let me get this other end. And we'll get this. Oh, what you did right there. Okay. You're going right in there, like that, under that line, right there. And then you're going right there. Boy, I hit that. I mean, I hit that. I guessed that angle. I got it all right. I'm good. Woo! Yes. That money right there. Well, okay. It could have been a little better. I need to cut that back just a hair. Exact same spot in that corner, and that's the top. Try to get that angle right. Get up here. Sit right there. All right, I got this last one ready to go. Slides right in there. Got everything trimmed and oh yeah. Want to get them perfectly in line or they'll cut each other in two. I'm just happy to finally get into the tubing. It's like getting started on putting the cage in, those first couple of pieces. That's the longest part, and then everything just starts falling like dominoes after that. So it's going to be several videos over the next 2 weeks because I'm just trying to like knock them out as I get this cage built. I took some time off from work just to get this done, just to make y'all these videos. So you want to be subscribed, thumbs up, leave us a comment. Make sure you turn on the notifications where you don't miss any video in this build. I will see y'all next time.